Right now, I'm going to share with you the very latest breakthroughs in neuropathy that you've probably never heard before. For example, did you know that newly diagnosed neuropathy isn't just about tingling, it's a brain risk signal. In a nationwide review, people with certain types of neuropathy had a 58% higher risk of vascular dementia and a 20% higher risk of all-cause dementia, and this is exploding to 8.7 times higher risk in those over 50 years old. So if this is news to you, then you're missing critical insight about how to reverse neuropathy while strengthening your brain for both your benefit and your family's. So stick around and I'll share with you what you can do about it. So we hear neuropathy and immediately thoughts of pins and needles, burning, numbness, and the unrelenting grind that those bring come to mind. Even worse is the dangerous loss of balance that comes with nerve demise. In avoiding exposure to danger and worse symptoms, people begin to limit what they do, and their world and lives begin to shrink smaller and smaller and become usually more lonely. But that's only what neuropathy feels like. While you certainly want all those things gone, it's really important that you don't get suckered that covering up the symptoms is addressing the cause of the problem. See, almost all doctors are only trained to think that reducing symptoms is addressing the neuropathy. This is why they prescribe anti-seizure brain medications to deal with your hands and feet. And this dumbs down the brain. And this is why many people don't like the way that they feel on these drugs. This antiquated conventional medical approach operates with the thought process of if your brain can't feel it, then it's just not there, right? And if a prescription is your doctor's only plan, it's proven to be the wrong tool for the job. And the research on this is really clear that the traditional medical tools carry very dangerous side effects while missing the root cause of the actual neuropathy. And these side effects compound the decline into a non-reversible neuropathic state. So naturally, you want a safer approach with better outcomes, right? So this has to start by asking the question, why? Why is neuropathy happening to you? See, there are over 100 ways to get neuropathy. And answering why the nerve degeneration exists leads to the question of how can it be reversed? Because one thing's for sure, you're not going to get the result by chasing your tail on the medical merry-go-round. You see, this is just what I've seen over the many years of practice, is that this is your life in the old way. And you start with some sort of symptoms. So in neuropathy, it might be the numbness, might be weakness, might be the pins and needles. You go to your doctor and it starts with symptoms. You tell them about the symptoms, you get the symptoms, and you go to the doctor, then they prescribe you a drug. And if that doesn't work, then the whole loop starts over. And this begins what I call the medical merry-go-round. So you might start this with your GP, and then you might have a second GP because the first one didn't give you any answers. Then they might send you to a podiatrist, and then you go to a neurologist, then pain management, and then surgery. But this whole loop is repeated every time you go to each doctor. And then every time you go, it's more and more and more expensive. And so this is a serious problem because all of these solutions, or air quotes solution, these are all just treating symptoms. Things like taking Advil, then steroids, and sleep medications because of restless leg or not being able to sleep because of the pain, then getting on drugs like Lyrica, Cymbalta, antidepressants. And once it comes to things like surgery, then there's things like spinal cord implants, nerve ablations. All of these things are pretty extreme and with very poor track records. And at the end of the day, if all of that's still going on, then their solution is just to take the limb. And this just doesn't make sense because as this goes on, your life keeps getting dimmer and dimmer. So the same conventional approach equals the same conventional results. So we have to do something new because the old way just doesn't make sense. If we keep going back to these systems that have decades of proof of not working, we got to do something different. So the conventional standard of care approach that your doctors are actually contractually obligated to if they're in the insurance model, these just don't work for neuropathy. But now we have the good news. For almost 2 decades now, our award-winning results have made us the go-to in Central Texas for predictably reversing neuropathy in just 90 days for the cases that we accept. And one of the most amazing things is that all this happened almost by accident, along with some good fortune along the way. See, in 2007, I shared a new concept for nerve restoration during a talk, and one of the attendees told a company out in Colorado, which led to my first clinical trial that was a key component for cracking the code of neuropathy. But this was just one piece of one component that has led to life-changing results that we see every single week. You see, over the years of trial and error, I discovered that there are actually not one, but 5 essential elements required to reverse this condition at its core. And this requires attacking the root cause by balancing the brain, restoring the gut and nutrition, aligning time and clarity, using vital movement patterning to elevate for the life you truly want. This new technology is the proven solution that reverses neuropathy, and it's called the Brave Health Method. The truth is that some neuropathies are not reversible because too much degeneration has already occurred. And this is why a precision assessment is the most powerful first step that can be taken. But neuro restoration cannot occur in a 10-minute doctor visit focused on symptom-based care or just by talking with the medical assistant. Many factors weigh into determining if the neuropathy is reversible. And that's why we reserve over an hour for your personalized assessment. And with almost 2 decades of clinical excellence, those that are candidates average reversing their neuropathy by 48.75% in the first 90 days alone using the root cause centered Brave Health Method. Now, the biggest reason for our extreme success rate is that we have a personalized assessment that reveals which fibers are and which fibers are not working. With that insight, I can determine if the nerve damage is reversible, and if so, design a personalized program tailored to your specific root cause needs. So you can join the thousands of people we've helped to win back their lives. So if you know you're ready for a new approach with a proven record, then use the link below to connect so that you can reserve your spot for the best time for us to meet. Then you'll speak with our client service specialist. She'll make sure that you have everything you need before our first visit, where we can help you get the health you need for the life you truly want. Take care.